Hello, everyone. My name is Cami Weber, and I'm a nursing education consultant with Elsevier. I wanted to offer you a few tips and ideas for using the HESI Case Studies practice tests and patient review course in an online environment. Sometimes this course is referred to as the Trio course. However, you may only have one component of this Trio course, and that's fine. So this product can easily be used in an online course environment. I'm going to show you discuss a few ideas for how you can do this. So for fulfillment, here are a few ideas for how you might be able to use the HESI Trio course or components of this course to fulfill your course requirements in an online environment. One way is you can have the students individually or virtually in small groups or all together as a large group. You can complete the HESI case studies or a patient review together. So you can assign them to the students to complete individually. If you can do them virtually in a small group or all together, that's a great use of the time. You can consider adding in more what if questions if you're able to discuss. If students are doing them in small groups or completing them individually, you can require the students to submit the textbook title and the page numbers for where they found the answers to their questions. And you can consider having them post those to a discussion board or a Google Doc if able to. Also, if you're using the case studies in an online virtual environment, you can use the case study to be a guide for your course content, and you could have the students write a reflection about their virtual experience and the new information that they learned from the discussion of the case study. Again, you can ask the students to post those to a discussion board or a Google Doc, or simply submit those to you in an email format. So the HESI practice tests and quizzes are really meant to be used for the end of the course or towards the end of the course. So if you're nearing the end of the course and you've completed most of the course content, this is a great use of the practice tests or the quizzes. Prior to that, you could use some other form of quizzing, whether it's the adaptive quizzing, maybe SurePath, any other forms that you have if you want to gauge the students' the effectiveness of how the students are participating in the online environment. But if you're near the end of the course, the practice tests and quizzes are a great use of that time. So in a virtual environment, you can display the practice tests or the quiz online and review the questions and the rationales together with the students as like a review session. You could assign the practice test or quiz individually to the students to complete or have them work in small pairs. And you can consider using, if you have them complete them in individually or in pairs, you could consider using that item analysis that you receive, using those results to discuss the content areas where maybe more than 30% of the students answered something incorrectly. So you could use that as a review. So here's some tips and ideas for you might be able to use components of the HESI Trio course to fulfill the clinical and lab requirements. You could assign 2 to 3 case studies for students to complete, allowing only one attempt. If you could set a particular passing score of your choice, you could consider using the same passing requirements that you use for your course assessments. So if you require your testing percentage as passing as 75%, you could require the same for the case study. Maybe it's 80%, whatever it is for you that works for you. Also, after completing a HESI case study, if assigned outside of class, you could have the students practice documenting the clinical data in SimChart if that's available to you, or if not, you could have the students simply write out the long-handed nursing note of the clinical data and submit that to you, either in a discussion board format, Google Doc, email, whatever works for you. Another idea is to have the students complete the HESI case study or the patient review and identify the data that's relevant to each phase of the nursing process. Again, have them put that in to a discussion board, maybe a Google Doc, or write up a document and send that to you. Lastly, you could have the students complete an SBAR report using the data from one of the HESI case studies or the patient reviews. Again, all of these things are just ideas that you could possibly use as you transition to the online environment. And all of these ideas you could consider having the students post either to a discussion board, a Google Doc, or just simply emailing to you, whichever works best for you. So here's just an additional resources that you might find helpful that speak to an online course environment. The article that's listed here is a great article by Dr. Tim Bristol that discusses ideas for using the case studies in the classroom. And he includes some tips for case studies in an online environment. So that might be of use for you. So I hope you found the information helpful and have come away with a few ideas for using the components of the HESI Trio course as you transition to the online environment. Thank you for listening, and I wish you all the best during this time of transition.